So what I'm going to show you today might gross you out. I apologize. Any one of you who is a farmer will know that this is just the normal life on a farm. So today I will show you how I generate maggots from my farm and I use it to feed my chicken. Generating maggots is one of the things I try to do to reduce the cost of feeding my chicken. That is my native chicken population. I don't use it for my layers as yet, but I use it for my native chicken population. As a farmer, I want to be sustainable. For me, what sustainability means is if I cannot buy something from anywhere else, will I still be able to run my farm? If I cannot import feeds, if I cannot buy feeds, if I cannot do any other thing else, will I be able to generate what I need to run my farm within my farm? That's what sustainability means to me. And we should look at this not only in terms of our farms, but also in terms of our country, our continent. If we don't import all those things that we import from China and from every other part of the world, are we going to be able to feed ourselves? That's how we strive for sustainability. And that's what I try to do. Those of you who follow my channel, and before I continue, I want to thank every one of you who have subscribed. I want to increase my subscription base, so please, if you've not subscribed, just stop and do that right now. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be among the first to receive the first notice once I upload a video. Okay, like I said, this thing might gross you out. Please bear with me. It's just farm life. But if you follow my channel, you know I have a number of enterprises on my farm. I have the egg layer production. I have the native chicken. I have the turkey, the goats, and ducks, and the rest of them. So in my egg layer production, those of you who have dealt with layers before, you know that they do only three things. They eat, they lay eggs, and they poop. And they poop a lot. So since I've been working with black soldier flies, as I've shown in my other videos, I understand how flies behave, how maggots behave. So when I was building my farm for the poultry layers where I was going to put the cages, I designed it in such a way that I'll be able to harvest maggots from it. Take a look at this. What you're seeing now are the maggots that come out from the feces or the droppings of these layer beds. So I already understand how maggots behave from my study of black soldier fly. And let me explain it here to you. For those of you who don't know, maggots are very clean animals, basically. They are very, very clean. I know it's unbelievable because they stay in decaying matter. But once a maggot, the fly lays the egg, it comes out of the shell and begins to feed on that food, on that rotten, decaying matter or feces. Once it's done, it will feed for about 3 to 5 days, depending on the type of fly. And then it's done feeding. It's time for it to hibernate. It will have to crawl out of that dirty organic matter that is decaying. And what they will do is that they will empty their bowels. And that's why when you see maggots, they are white in color, because they've emptied their bowels. They no longer have any decaying matter in them. They empty their bowels and then they crawl out of wherever that decaying matter is. So I had this in mind when I was building my poultry pen for my layers. I built it in such a way that the receptor where you have the feces of the poultry droppings was deep. And the reason it's deep is that I want the maggots to crawl out and not just to be recycling within the feces and everything. They will crawl out of where you have the feces and then they look for somewhere else to hibernate. And as you can see here, these are maggots that have crawled out. Maggots usually crawl out when the sun goes down. So once it's dark, they start crawling out. When you wake up in the morning, you see maggots all over the place, and then you can harvest them and feed it to your native chicken. This is just what I do. And as you can see here, this is all chicken feed. For those of you who might find this a little bit gross, again I apologize. But you should know, maggot is the original chicken feed. Okay? Think about it. Before agriculture was developed to what it is today, chickens were not being domesticated. Some of them they are game fowls, they are chickens that grew up in the wild. Those chickens that grew up in the wild, what do they eat? Do they go and plant corn to eat? Do they go and harvest corn? Do they go and plant soybeans? No. Chickens were not created to eat corn. They were actually created to eat maggots like this. And that's how chickens survive. So maggot is the original meal for chicken. Once I harvest them, as you can see here, I put them in a bowl and wash them. Just wash them. But they already don't have, as you can see in this water is not dirty. This water already has a biological, it doesn't have biological matter because the maggot, like I said, has emptied its bowl. But one thing with maggots is that once you put them in water, you have to act fast because once they become liquid, they are very, very mobile. They move very fast. Before you know, you lose them, all of them. So I just wash them and I feed them to my chicken. And as you can see, that's what's going on here. I feed it to my birds. And clearly you can see here, this chicken, they eat it with gusto. They enjoy it because it's their original food. In a day, we can harvest enough maggots, and I have not measured them, but we can harvest enough maggot for them to skip one meal and eat only that maggot. So when you combine maggots with corn, you're having carbohydrate and protein right there for the chicken. That's all they need. The vitamins, they can get it from the water and all that stuff you give them. So that's basically what they need. I also noticed that once I started feeding these maggots to my birds, egg production increased, performance also increased. So it's really good if this is a way to save money and also get free chicken feed from the byproduct of your farm. And this is something I'm developing so that we can perfect it over time and make sure that we have a way to harvest this maggot regularly for our birds. One thing I noticed is that maggots, they tend to do better, they tend to come out better during the rainy season. During the dry season, they don't come out that much. But during the rainy season, they are almost everywhere, every day. So we just harvest them and feed to our birds. Another thing, I noticed that the turkeys don't eat it. No, I don't know why. But one thing I suspect is that if they were not eating it when they were young, it would be difficult to convince them to eat it when they grow up. So what I do to make the turkeys eat it, and I don't know if it's going to disturb the internal system of the turkey because these are basically live maggots. I'm hoping that their crop will crush it and kill the maggots. The chickens are enjoying it and they don't have any problem with it, but I don't know about the turkeys. But what I do to make the turkeys eat it is I mix it with normal chicken feed. As we have them this way now, I can just get like a few poultry feed and mix it with it, and then they will eat it. The turkeys will eat it. And the chickens, of course, will always eat it, whether I mix it or not. So that's how I get the turkeys to eat it. But I don't know if it will mess up with their internals. So far, it has not. And since I've not seen any negative reaction on them, I'll continue feeding them that. So this is what I do to save money in my farm. I feed my birds. I generate maggots from my egg layers, which they generate this almost all the time. They poop all the time. We clean their poop receptor almost like 2 or 3 times a week. That's what they do all the time. They just poop all the time. And since we have free maggots coming out from this poop, there's always flies in our farm. There's flies everywhere. It's basically cheap. You can generate it this way. The maggots will crawl out on their own, and all you need to do is just to harvest it. In some farms I've seen, to solve this maggot problem, what they do is they spray chemicals to kill the fly population. I wish those flies can move to my farm because I will never use chemicals on flies. That's the natural free food, basically. Some farms, what they do, they spray chemicals and then it kills the fly that come to lay the eggs. And so no eggs, no maggot. That's not for me. This is free food. And hopefully one day I'll be able to develop it to an extent where I'll be able to feed this not only to native chicken, but also to layers and other birds that I raise in the farm. So that's it, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not. I hope you've learned something, and if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll attend to it. Thanks, guys. See you in my next video.